Here we are in the glorious Whitsundays, and we're going to go sailing. And this is we're 2 days after the winter solstice, so it doesn't get any better than this. Before we go sailing, obviously we've got to get ourselves off the pontoon, and I'm going to show you how to do that safely. And it's very important that you know how to do it and do it safely, because that means you don't injure your crew, you don't damage your boat, and you don't damage somebody else's boat, because that's it gets expensive. So it really depends on how many people you've got around you. If you've got a full complement of crew, it's a lot easier, and if you've got some dock hands, that's also easier. But if you're short-handed, as we are today, it's just Danny and myself, then there's only one way to do that, and that is to set up your lines to slip, because both of us are going to be leaving with the boat. So at the moment we've got a standard setup of mooring. We've got a stern line, we've got a bow line, we've got a stern spring that stops the boat moving forward, and we've got a bow spring that stops the boat moving aft. The first thing to do is work out your tide and your wind, because those are going to affect the boat. As soon as the as soon as the boat is free, the boat is going to start to move, and that's going to be influenced by the tide, and it's going to be influenced by the wind. In the marina here there's no tide, so we don't have to worry about that. But over the summer, Pure was parked down at Rivergate Marina in the Brisbane River, and that has a 4-knot tide running. So you do need to take that into consideration when you're parking there. But up here in the marina, not a problem. But the one thing we do have to be wary of is the wind. So we need to work out wind speed and wind direction. And at the moment the wind speed it's a very light, barely 10 knots. And wind direction, if we look at the top of the mast, we'll see an arrow, and at the moment the wind is at southeast, so it's coming over the starboard quarter. Okay, so that's going to blow us off, which is going to make life a lot easier when we get off. Okay, when you're coming back in, a blow-off breeze makes life a bit more difficult. But the one thing you do need to be a bit careful, of course, is of a blow-off breeze, is if there's a boat on the other side, which there is with us. If we have nothing but the ocean, that's not a problem. Okay, the wind's going to blow you off and you're going to be away. But we've got to be very careful of that boat over there. But we're not going to have a lot of movement sideways. Most of it is going to be in the direction that we actually want to leave. If you've got a strong breeze, then that's different, and you've got to be very, very careful, especially on a boat like this, okay, which is almost just short of 60 foot, and she weighs 23 tons. As soon as the wind starts to move her, there's no way that you're going to hold her. So just be careful. So first thing we can do is take off the stern spring. It is slack. The wind is moving the boat that way, but it's slack, so there's very little movement. It's being held by the bow line, and in particular the stern line, which you can see is tight. So let's take off this stern spring. Sorry, bow spring. And it needs to come off because it's being doubled up as the stern line. So we've got no wind, so if I take this off, the boat's really not going to move. Okay, so I can take it off. You've got to be very careful as soon as you take this off, because what you want is just one loop around and then back to the boat. If you took that off and there was a strong breeze running, you'd have a lot of difficulty holding that. So ideally you want somebody over there to take the line. Okay, so just put that round once, just like that. Okay, that is now ready to slip. So whoever's on there handling the stern line, all they need to do is take that off and just let it run through. Okay, there's probably a great temptation to try and lasso it off. If you're good at lassoing, that's fine. If you're not, I suggest you just let it slip, because otherwise you'll end up with a knot and you'll be halfway out, and then that knot will get caught on that cleat and you'll come to a grinding halt, or you'll probably pull the cleat out of the out of the pontoon. Okay, so I'm now going to do that on the bow line. Okay, so this line is doubled up, so I'm just going to take off that line there, but not completely. I'm just going to let it go loose, which gives me enough slack to come down. So what I can do now is just take that off once again, if there's quite a strong breeze blowing, you will want somebody up there to take up the slack immediately. But what I can do, since there's no breeze, I can take that off. I can now just run up, and I can take up the slack. Now you want to take up as much slack as you can, because pretty much where she was, it's fine. And once again, just one turn round and a figure of 8. And that one is ready to slip. The only other line that we've got left is the stern spring, and I'm going to leave this on the dock. What will happen is we'll move forward, and as soon as Danny has, I'll get her to ask her to do the bow line first. I'll be able to keep the bow in with the bow thruster. She'll come back and do the stern line, and then we'll be free. This will come slack as we move out, and I'll just ask her to take it off and just drop it on the pontoon. And that is exactly the right length, so that when we come back in, we can put it on, and I know that the stern will not hit, the transom will not hit the pontoon at the back there. That's it. Okay, we're all ready to go, and Danny is up in the bow. So what I'm going to get her to do is to slip that bow line. Okay, Danny, go. I think she's going to try and do a lasso technique. No, she's not. She's going to put it all the way through. Just got to make sure there's nobody else coming as well at the point before you release your lines. Okay, that bow line is free. Okay, I'm just going to keep the bow in with the bow thruster, although she's not going to moving. She's not moving at all at the moment.
Ready on the stern?
Yep, ready on the stern. And I think Danny's going to try a lasso. And there it is. Okay, we're now free. What I'm going to do is just use the bow thruster to just get her out a little bit. She's in gear. We're going to move forward. That's going to go loose, and we're away.
Oh, good.